Welcome to the Tuesday Night Podcast. I'm John Mussone here with Venice City head football coach John Peacock. And Coach, sitting here in Bogeys as usual and kind of contemplating the idea that we're going to play football again on a Friday night after a 2-week forced hiatus by Hurricane Ian to kind of keep us off the field for a while. So going to play at Sarasota, which initially was going to be a home game, but we have some issues with the field and the bleachers, and we're trying to work some things out. But we cannot play at home any home games currently, so up to Sarasota for a away game. But again, a football game is a football game. We're happy to be playing it.
Oh, absolutely. One thing is this is the first game, for the 2022 Indians.
Yeah.
That they'll be playing a local team. So ever since the spring, we haven't played any local teams. So obviously, the kids are excited for that. They always get excited to play local games. So. I expect them to be, locked in and focused. We've had yesterday was not a great practice, being 13 days off. It was a little bit hot out there.
Sure.
So it got kind of rough at some situations. But today, I felt like we had a really, really good practice for a Tuesday, and obviously for being off as long as we have been. I thought our kids responded very well and had a great practice, and I feel like we got a good game plan for them, and excited. Really excited to see Trenton Kintai back in action and to see how he performs. And, we talked a little bit about it on our coaches show. Like Trenton looked great today in our team pass situation. And, team passes where we go live for, 8 plays at the very beginning of practice right after endo. And he looked really good. I mean, getting really fast off the ball, did a great job with his stunts. And I told you, like, he looked like he was a better football player today than he ever was last year. So there's been improvement even with a serious injury like he's had.
Would you have to really be concerned about him going at it too much, too fast, too many plays? Or
no, I think the concern, with guys come back is the hesitation.
Okay.
That's usually when they end up re-injuring something, is when they are hesitating and they're kind of trying to compensate for their other leg. And so, sometimes somebody will tear their other leg or re-injure their
especially when you're going live like that. I know any of you have ever broken a bone. The first time you take the cast off, like, can I do this? Can I do this?
Well, he's been rehabbing the whole time.
But his foot now he's taking it to the next level where it's going to be, live. People running at him and doing whatever they're going to do. So
he looked really good today. I was really actually shocked when I saw him move around and how well he was moving around and how he was playing. I just because it is coming off that type of injury, a lot of people are hesitant, and he seemed to not really mentally be hesitant, like he was just playing football.
Good. That's good to hear. With that, Sarasota, again, an improved football team, 3-2 mark right now, beat Palmetto and as a big sort of bell cow win for them in particular.
Yeah, I reached out to Coach Wiseman after they played Palmetto. I thought that was a big point in his program, and getting that type of win. Palmetto is a team that has been deep in the playoffs for consecutive years after, I think I want to say last 4 or 5 years, or maybe even more. I'm not real sure. But I know that they've been in the playoffs and made deep runs in the last few years. And for him to get a win like that, I thought was really good for his program.
Yeah, no, and like I said, that's a confidence builder. And now you look up and say, there's Venice, and we know they're making improvements from last year to game to game to game. This year they'll probably make improvements. So yeah, we really have to be prepared to get their best, which we get from everybody. That's the one thing we always talk about. We're not going to get somebody's, kind of good game.
Yeah, we're definitely.
You're going to get everything.
Yeah, we're going to get everything, and we're going to get all the the wrinkles and the trick plays and the little things on special teams, and yeah, we understand that and know that, and I think, like I said, I think our kids have made some. We talked about in the coaches show just improvements at certain positions, and I feel like we've kind of made that turn to where, early on in the year we're talking like, hey, we're a young football team.
Yeah.
To now, that's gone. That no longer can be an issue, a discussion. We are not a young football team. They've played 5 games, dating back to spring. They're a veteran group.
Well, actually 6. IMG was the 5th.
True. Yeah, 6 games. And so that's no longer an excuse. They have plenty of experience. and experience against very good football teams. So we should be ready to make this run, and starting off with our district week right here is just like a playoff game. I mean, if we don't get this done Friday night, I mean, you might as well just pack your bags now.
Exactly.
So we are taking it very seriously. Obviously, we respect all of our opponents, but we are dead locked in to make sure that we have a very crisp football game, a very a very disciplined football game, and we want to really kind of get back to our tempo and trying to go as fast as we can, and those type things.
And I will say this, prior to the kind of break we took here, that discipline on the field was really showing itself. Keeping the penalties down, again,
right.
Focused upright. Seemed like we're really kind of getting on that into that groove where you like to see that. Where there's always penalties aren't always things are going to happen. Physical things are going to happen.
This week's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
With the see how the penalties go.
Yeah, like I said, we'll definitely see how that plays out for sure.
Yes, we'll be
old referees. Yeah. So I knew you're going that way, but see how it works out. But I mean, at least there's a familiarity to it. You kind of know what to expect.
I hope.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, we just play football.
One thing we didn't touch on, obviously going into the season, probably another strength of the team, your backfield. They're both back together. They're doing their thing, and I think they were starting to hit some strides there in the Seminole game where they're finding their groove. I think you were finding a groove with how to situationally substitute them there and here and there. So nice to have those two guys back working together and being healthy.
Yeah, Gator had some things going on early in the year, some nagging injuries, and Dooney. I think he is really. I think he's been a huge surprise for us. Just the way he's ran the ball. He's run the ball very tough. Gotten some tough yardages. They both have been fearless when they ran. Especially IMG. They both ran it up in there, and that was tough. That was a tough deal. I mean, that's when you had 5 offensive linemen and a tight end that never played a varsity football game, and you're playing IMG, and that was a tough deal. Now we're a lot better right now than we were then, but those are the growing pains you got to go through.
And even the St. Francis game, Alvin was going solo that night. I'm not mistaken.
Well, in St. Francis, I mean, Alvin was. We were getting close to busting a few, and I think I think if you look back at that, and it can be like anybody else. If this, if that, I told somebody today, we would have 15 state championships if everything went right. You sit in the room.
Everybody's healthy. Everybody's great.
You sit in the room after a football game, and if this, if that. Well, yeah. Well, if everything goes right, we have 15 state championships.
Right.
But everything ain't going to go right, especially playing a good team. But I think if Gator was healthy that game, having those two, we might have been able to get the running game going a little bit better.
But I think my point with that was that he hit the hole as hard as he could hit it every single time.
Yeah.
And that says a lot, because sometimes you say to yourself, man, I know this is going to hurt, or I hope my guys got that guy blocked, but
they say
you go for it.
Toughness is when you're afraid to go, but you go anyway.
Right.
Obviously Alvin has definitely answered that and showed that, and if they have that same mentality and that same approach, and they hit the hole the same way they were
right
with our schedule moving forward, it's going to look different.
Yeah,
it's going to look different.
I agree.
I think that's something that everyone on our team can probably be excited about. Especially playing. This is the first local game we've had, and then not playing a national team. A national team. I mean, really every team that we played so far is ranked nationally.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
So, and 2 of them are in the top 10, and one's in the top 30, and the other ones are good, and so I think our kids are excited for that, and not that we don't respect our opponent.
No,
we actually respect our opponent.
I think, like I said, you're saying that because that's the one thing. The idea that that the emphasis on winning the district games, is there's so much importance put on that. Lends itself to understanding that we respect them as opponents, because if we didn't, we just say, oh, well, let's see who we're going to play in the playoffs or whatever it may be. No, we have to really respect them, because they're obviously they're an up and coming, growing program. Man, I mean, they're from the big city. They're from Sarasota. We're Venice, but they're gonna have some dudes for sure. So you can't go in that situation and not give them the respect that it deserves, because that's when you get yourself in a lot of trouble. And I'm not saying, but the kids can't. No player on the team can go walk in there and say, well, heck yeah, we look at us. We're that's our reputation. That wasn't your jersey last year. It says Venice on it, but it may not have been your jersey. You gotta do it. It's just not gonna. The jersey
you can't roll your helmet out there. And expect to win.
Jersey doesn't just make you that guy. You got to be that guy. So that's, I think, has a lot to do with that. One other thing too about the running game, real quick. Looks like with Brooks kind of running the ball a little bit here and there too, seems to have elevated his game a little bit, and I think it's also elevated the running attack altogether. Yeah,
we're going to try to. Hopefully, I think we know what we have there. Obviously, just like any other year, we don't want to run our quarterback unless we need to. Just like we did with Ryan, just like we did with Bryce. Obviously there were games where Bryce had 42 carries.
Yeah.
But there were also games. There was also 5 games during the regular season where he had 2.
Right.
Or maybe 1, and that was just from a scramble. So we always want to try to prevent our quarterback from running the ball and taking hits, really.
Yeah. No, like I say, but in situations, he's shown.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. We know, like I said, we know what we have with him. He's an absolute winner, stud, and we didn't know what we were getting, and didn't know what kind of player he was. But I mean, he's like I said in the coaches show. I mean, he's the type of guy that. When it gets hairy, he's going to throw everybody on his back and say, "Let's saddle up, boys." And that's if you're going to have somebody on your team do that, if it's your quarterback, it's even better.
Yeah, no, because the position itself lends itself to leadership.
Right.
You're going to be that guy, and so if you can do it, as far as what you show to the team, not just from in the huddle, but in your play.
Right.
It makes everything sort of. You can always see, you can feel. The energy level go up, not just from the field, but also in the stands as well, too, when they see that kind of stuff. It's a good deal. So, anyway, Sarasota, again, district game, Friday night, 7:30, Eyrig Field. We need everybody up there. We want to make it a home game. Should be a home game, but it's not.
It's supposed to be, but it's not.
But we want to make it a home game if we can. So get up there. We were talking about earlier, weather should be fantastic on Friday night. They're talking about a front coming through Thursday, midday.
Thursday?
Yeah, midday Thursday, a front coming through. Drying the air out, bringing some nice cool temperatures to.
Good. It was hot. It's been hot
this
week.
It's I had said that that Ian had sort of taken summer away with it, but there's that one summer wanted to hang on for a few more days.
Yeah, it did.
And it came in with a little bit of energy. And
it's hot today.
But this is the official. When you see that cold front coming down that map, and you say, here it comes, and you see the weatherman smiling, it's funny because Florida weathermen, they're like, here comes the cold, and up north they're like, oh no, here comes the cold. And so smile on their face that know they can tell everybody, hey, man, we're going to have 7.5 months of Chamber of Commerce weather, and we're good to go, and it's starting now. So hopefully that's where things go and we stay this way. And I always like the fact when there's a little chill in the air, it does really feel like we're heading towards where we want to be at the end of the season with football. So I would love that a lot. So please show up. We know you always do. We love the fact that you're there. It's a short drive. Not as short as Riverview will be, but it is still a short drive.
Right now, Riverview's going to be at Sarasota.
Oh, so we're right back there, familiar territory. So we have a lot of issues with certain. I think that's a to be determined situation too.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll see, but we have two away games in a row, and both the most important games of the year. So hopefully everybody can travel and get up there for us. With that, we'll take our first break of the night. Come back after about 90 seconds, and we'll talk about our spotlight sponsor of the night and a few other little things. So take the 90-second break and see you back here in a few minutes at Bogeys.
Bogeys of Venice, located at 652 East Venice Avenue. Come eat in a family-friendly environment and enjoy hand-tossed pizzas made with fresh homemade pizza dough. Bogeys has been open for 17 years and has been voted best wings in town several consecutive times. Inside, we feature the Venice Hall of Fame, 37 flat screen TVs, and arcade games for the kids. Bogeys of Venice, where good sports come to play.
What does Douglas, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Venice High Football have in common?
The perfect team and the perfect lineup.
Douglas, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram will always go the extra yard so you can score big with the area's best selection and savings. So if you're looking for a championship vehicle lineup
And a dealership that tackles the competition.
visit Douglas, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram in Venice.
And if you're looking for a championship football lineup, check out the Venice High Football team.
Who supports Venice High Football?
Douglas does!
And we're back here at Bogeys for a second half of our Tuesday night podcast. And Coach, let's get right to it. The spotlight sponsor of the week, E.T. McKenzie. They've been a sponsor for a number of years. We know the guy who's sort of our contact, our main man, Scott Huber, from over at E.T. McKenzie. And Scott sent me a little copy here I'm going to read so we can kind of give you an idea of what E.T. is all about. So E.T. is a $100 million company with 250 employees. Run a company like the Indians run their football team, which is very efficiently and very productively and championship level, I would have to say, if they're doing it that way, right? Looking for people that want to be a part of a winning culture and want to make a career out of construction. Currently, there are 15 Venice people in key positions, leadership positions in the organization, and they're leaving their mark on the land here in Southwest Florida or Central Southwest Florida. So Scott and his crews and everything else have been a big part of Venice high school football for, gosh, how many years now? It's got to be close to 7, 8.
Yeah, I mean, and he's really done a lot for our program as far as some of our projects,
Right.
coming to fruition.
Right.
There's always a lot of people that help and are part of it. But Scott, with our entrance, he did cleared everything out.
Right. Well, I'll tell you when it started because Scott was on they did the new school. So it goes back to when the school was being built that E.T. McKenzie became part of our sponsorship program.
But he actually, for our entrance to the stadium, he brought his company out there and basically cleared it out for us for free.
And that's the thing. So a lot of times we always ask, there's always the time of the year where you're asking for sponsorships and whatnot.
Right.
But so much more. It's not always about the dollars and cents. It's about something you can do for us and that will be a money saver or an addition to it.
That was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, E.T. McKenzie was a huge part of that in getting the Jumbotron. I mean, that all kind of was combined, and he was definitely a huge part of that. And that's been a real good thing for our program.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, I
Oh,
think
no
it's
doubt.
great for not just our program, but graduation, and this really affected our community.
It's an entire communal thing. You get a lot out of that. Now I know Scott's probably thanking us in his head about talking about his company, E.T. McKenzie, but I know he wants to talk about is his son Jack. Because we've talked a lot about Jack the last few weeks, and Jack's been really showing up and performing well for the Indians at outside linebacker.
We're really setting Jack up for failure by talking about him.
I know. You were right about
really
that.
like to stop.
So this is it. This is the last time. Yeah. So after this, we're not saying another word. But no, I'm sure. But Scott's proud. He's out there and he's in the stands.
I'm proud too. He's his brother is married to my niece. So I'm around their family more than just on the football side of things and school side of things, and a great family. And Jack, whether he was a good football player or a bad football player, it makes no difference to me. And trust me, he has not gotten any special treatment for about anything.
No, that's one of the things about you've had friends and we still do. Coaches with sons. There's never been anything that nobody's ever been like, well, he knows the coach.
Yeah, and I think if that were the case, I would hope that he wouldn't respect me.
Yeah,
if I did do that, even for somebody else. But anyway, Jack has been like we talked about in the coach show tonight. Like, what a huge surprise, and just how physical he's played, and just I like that physical football, and he's been real physical and makes plays, and I'm just excited to see where the rest of the season goes with him.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's probably we probably screwed him up this game.
Yeah, I think if we ever could, we had to have, and so we need to just tell Larry Shannon, hey man, we're sorry. we didn't know when to shut up.
It's like what is it? If you're on the if you're the Heisman Trophy winner, right? Isn't that the whole deal?
Yeah,
you're going to lose the national championship game,
or the bowl game, whatever it may be. Yeah.
Or is it the thing with if you're on the front of Madden?
Oh, that's the end right there.
Yeah.
You're getting hurt. Yeah, that's
exactly.
that one. There's all kind of craziness with that. So, yeah. So hopefully we don't have that jinx with our conversation. With that, go back a little bit about what's coming up on Friday night. You talk about the physical part of the game, physicality of the game. You off for 2 weeks, and we talk about a little bit about stamina, whatever. But there's got to be a little bit. You got to get that little first hit back on you. A little, don't you think? You want to hit somebody. You want to hit somebody that's not your teammate or whatever it may be. That's got to be a little bit a part of the game.
Yeah, I'm sure. But like I said, this is the first time we're playing a local team, so I think that's going to bring just that much more excitement to our kids. Just from that sense alone, and we don't play a whole lot of local teams.
Right. You'll play 2 this year.
Yeah.
I want to count IMG as a
no,
local.
I mean because they're not local. They're from all over
the
country.
They're national. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we got to play Riverview and Sarasota. They make them play us. So they didn't really have a choice. And that's one thing about the schedule. That's one thing I don't understand is why I would want to play the best.
And I thought what was going to force that hand a little bit was the fact that now there's the point system the way it is. It would be it would seem easy to say that's the one we want. I would think they'd be clamoring to play,
right?
Unless you're depending if you're a much smaller school for that matter. But you would be clamoring to play that game because my gosh, it's win or lose. You don't really lose anything. You're going to get
you gain
the points,
you
right?
Gain
it's
points,
a game.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, I guess. I think maybe that's sort of like looking at it from maybe your perspective. I mean, when the point system came out, you were like, right away, let's do this.
Yeah, and I was almost when that came out, I was almost like, well, gosh, I'm gonna have to try to beat people away from not playing, because it would hurt our strength of schedule.
Exactly.
It hasn't been that way, surprisingly, but
you never know. I mean, sometimes you look at it and you say,
I think people are starting to figure it out though. Like you got to play the best.
Well, even this whole 4M, 4S, 3M, 3S, like a team like the teams who were supposed to play, but even like a Seminole or whatever, they want to come. I think they're looking forward to playing Venice because it does give them
now.
That. Well, beforehand,
back then,
yeah,
but not now.
Yeah, but now you say look at it and say, well, that's the game that we want because that's the one that's going to propel us to be the number 1 seed or our home team.
Not now.
Yes.
But back then,
yeah. So, that was the plan. Let's say that was the plan. So that would be the reason why you would do it. And I think that's sort of what I think. You're right. Everybody's sort of catching on and saying, "Oh, okay, this is gonna help us in the long run." I think it
does. Regardless if you're playing, I always say I'd rather be the bottom of the top than the top of the bottom. Yeah. So. You always want to try to play your best opponents, but it might start working out for us, where we're able to find some more local games.
I think it'll eventually that's going to happen. I can't imagine it being going the other direction.
Let's see what happens in Naples. Let's see what happens in Naples this year.
Okay.
Let's see if them playing us helps them or what it may be.
We'll see. You're right.
We'll see what happens when the seeding comes out and all that stuff happens.
Yeah, no doubt. Picks from last week, 3-2 on the picks. The one that you would suspect that you would have gotten was Alabama, which didn't work out. It was they won the game, but the spread was there. But I think looking into this week, marquee game of the week is Alabama Tennessee, and the third weekend in October has always been sort of one of the monikers you hear in the SEC, and it hasn't meant much. And now this year it's back to meaning something. Where Tennessee is the number 8 team in the country, or they were 8 last week. Alabama being number 1. So, do we have a pick on that one?
I got. Did you do picks?
I'm gonna do yours. I'm gonna do like I did last week and see we can.
So you're gonna say if you like. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I try to pick games that people are gonna watch and people have interest in.
Yeah.
I feel really good about these people. I feel really, really good about these. So I'm going definitely Alabama -7 over Tennessee.
I agree.
I think that. I think Tennessee has played great, but they're not there yet.
And I
think Alabama's going to show them just how far
they have to go.
Yeah.
It's not 8; it's probably 18 versus 1
or 28.
Right. And I think one thing I will say, Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M have had success, limited, but had some success against Alabama.
There's always those teams.
Right. They don't have their number, but Jimbo knows Nick, and Nick knows Jimbo a little bit. And I think that off-season comments about buying players, I think that really motivated not just the coaching staff, but the kids for an A&M. So that brought a little bit of that. Because college football is so much about that energy you bring to a game sometimes, and you get that momentum. And I think they had momentum right off the bat, and I think they stayed in that game pretty well. But I agree with you. I think it's an Alabama cover in that game.
I'm going to go Georgia minus 38 over Vandy for 2 reasons. One, Vandy's really bad.
Yeah.
And they put no pressure on the quarterback. And Georgia's going to score some points.
And I watched a little bit of I peeked in some games. I was flipping around, and Vandy looked a little like undisciplined in some way. And that's not how Vanderbilt wins. They got to be the team that doesn't make penalties and doesn't make mental mistakes. And I saw a little bit of that when Ole Miss was sort of getting the momentum and went from being behind for a little while to getting the lead and then breaking away. I think that was a little bit to do with Vandy kind of unraveling a little bit as well. So.
And I'm going to go Florida minus 2.5 over LSU. You saw Chip Kelly after the game say, that's not us. That's not how we play. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, that is you. Yeah. That is how you play.
Yeah.
So I'm going Florida.
And I agree with that too. I think what I saw last week from being watching Florida quite a bit, they went from going with guys in packages. Okay, it's Naquan Wright's turn to be in the backfield, or Trevor Etienne's chance, to putting the right guy on the field for the situation, not the package.
Right.
They got down to the goal line, and Johnson came in the game and he ran it in. I think they were hesitant to run Richardson early in the game, and then they did later on, and they ran for 211 yards. That to me was the first step where I saw they made adjustments to the situation without and proper adjustments.
Right.
I think it was a big deal.
And I'm going Mississippi State minus 7 over Kentucky. I think that Mississippi State's playing well, especially on defense. So.
And the only thing I can say is Mike Leach teams can have lay an egg every once in a while, but I'm not sure if the kid Levis is back for Kentucky. If he's not, there's no way that they beat a Mississippi State team.
And then my final pick was Air Force minus 10 over UNLV, not because Air Force, but because UNLV is pretty bad. And
where is it at? Do you know where they're playing?
I don't know.
Okay, if they're playing at Air Force, it's probably already 7 feet of snow on the ground. And they're going to be – that's like one of the harder places. It's always hard to breathe. It's up in the altitude.
Right.
So those –
I can look and see.
If they're playing at if they're playing at Air Force, forget it. It's going to be a rough day. And Air Force is playing well. They're one of the did they win the Commander-in-Chief trophy last week? I think they beat Navy, if I'm not mistaken, and they think they won the Commander-in-Chief trophy. So they're back to being the old Air Force. Air Force was always sort of the team that you would kind of not pay attention to, and all of a sudden you look down and they have one loss, and it's against
UNLV.
Okay, well even so, I think that's I think Air Force is a prerequisite. I agree. I agree with everything you said on that one. I think we're in lockstep on this one.
All right, there you go.
So we'll see if we are correct with our picks for this week. With that, moving forward, we had talked a little bit about some of our players playing in college football. Chuck Brantley had an interception for a touchdown for Michigan State.
Chuck had a pick 6. Yep.
The Wolf brothers are performing well. One at Maryland catching balls, and one at Old Dominion throwing them around, and so they're doing really well. So it's been nice to see the guys are moving on, and they're having some success around the country playing some college football. We mentioned Bryce Carpenter and his last year at Coastal Carolina doing his thing, and eventually
I don't know if we've mentioned Javon's in the Canadian League right now.
I knew he was going, but we have not mentioned that.
He's at the Canadian League. He got there. I think he's maybe been there 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if he's playing yet or what, but I know he's up there in Canada.
Good. That's really good.
Yeah, I bet it's cold.
Yeah. Did Ryan Brown? I thought Ryan Brown committed.
Ryan Brown did commit to Purdue. Awesome. Congratulations to Ryan. The kid bet on himself and went to a prep school, and had some offers last year that he thought that he could play at a higher level, and he went and proved it. So congrats to him.
Purdue is one of those teams, not to get up, but is one of the teams that you watch, and they're just right at the edge of being
always.
They're pesky, is what I would call them now, but they got a good coach.
And they
He's
always
not
have
afraid.
a big win.
Always
have a big win.
Listen, they should have beat Penn State at the beginning of the year, and I think that was one that could have been a big push forward. So they're definitely and every year more and more you're starting to see they're getting guys that are going high in the draft too.
Yeah,
a couple DNs went last couple years ago, and you see some things. They got some skill position guys, so they're recruiting well,
right.
And so there's definitely some skill there for sure. And so that's a nice location or destination for Ryan to end up in. Nice to see him getting his opportunities in the Big Ten. Anything else you can think of as far as any notoriety or any noteworthy things?
Well, I mean, we obviously there's a bunch of kids we have playing. I'll have to get a list next time and maybe
we'll do that.
Talk about that.
Yeah, Vinny always puts it in the newspaper. He gives it little updates and stuff like that. So we always say because you start.
But some guys don't have the stats to list. Like Austin Bray and Riley Cleary they're true freshmen. They're playing at UT Martin.
Right.
DJ Escort. I don't know if DJ's playing, but he's dressed every week for Murray State.
You said MG had dressed for Louisville.
MG dressed for Louisville. Platts had some catches at FAU. Amari Hayes is at FAU. I think Amari's redshirting. So we have a bunch of kids that are out playing. Just, I don't know them off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm saying, but and that's the thing. There's a lot of, like I said, if you want to watch college football. It's
always someone.
You just tune a game on, you're going to catch somebody, that's for sure. Or I also like the fact that, so go back to we were talking about our schedule earlier. It's kind of fun to watch a game and see a dude that you played against doing some things. Matter of fact, we were watching Alabama Texas A&M. My soon-to-be son-in-law and I were watching that. And he's like, man, that 15 for Alabama is pretty good. I said, you should have seen him in high school.
Yeah. I
said he was a skinny-looking guy, but he could run people down, and he's a DN at Alabama. You never would have told me that. And that's Dallas Turner. He was quite the guy.
I saw the other guy,
Wingo.
No, well, Wingo plays for Florida.
Yeah.
But there was the other defensive end was playing in the NFL, and they made him get out of the game. It was a primetime game last week. They made him get out of the game. I forget his name now.
But he was from down south guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to
defensive end.
To figure who that is. But I mean they said it's always, but it is kind of fun to say, there's a guy we played against, or there's somebody from familiar faces.
Right.
Because even back in the day, the guys would be going to different colleges, like, oh, he's from here, he's from there, and he played this stuff. I mean, look at when we weren't. It was way back when you were, in high school. But Tommy Frazier and those guys, and it was always fun to see them doing well, and that was kind of cool to watch all that stuff. So more and more locally in this area, the 941 area code, and places we play, teams we play, to see them all performing at a pretty high level.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
David Rainey's at
Navy. That's right.
Navy. He's playing on the Naps team.
I think that's the normal protocol, right? You don't get out there as a freshman.
Right.
You go out and you do other things.
Miles is at
Mercer.
Yeah. And then I think Colin is the backup at Ball State.
Okay.
Ball State's having a good year, I think.
Right, because that's right. Because we forgot Colin. He had a delay.
Yep. And
he started mid-year of up there. So that's another one we forgot about. So if you're watching football, you might just keep the. Does that name sound familiar?
You got Ethan Morton, Garrett French at UCF.
And I see Ethan a lot. I watch UCF games. He's on the sidelines. I see him quite a bit.
You get Schrader, Thomas at Florida State.
Florida State, yep.
So we have a lot there right now.
So so you like said, you just keep watching and you'll see somebody.
Marlon Lewis is a starter, and I think he's like a team captain at Richmond. I
was going to mention that the Richmond connection up there.
Zach Fryers at UTEP. UTEP's having a great year. He plays a lot. I actually got to see some games of him in the game.
And he was one of our better. We always had good blocking tight ends,
right?
But he was a good one.
Yeah.
On the 17 team.
Justin Holloway's a long snapper at Ohio University.
Right. That was. I forget. And what about who was the one kid from Port Charlotte? that he was a long snapper.
Oh yeah. He's at Virginia Tech.
Right, and he went up there and started right away.
Yeah.
He was
exactly.
he was a guy. So, and Zach Sessa playing at USF.
Yeah,
now.
Zach Sessa. Yep. At USF.
Yeah, I didn't know his number, and I swear to you, the kid who was kicking ahead of him looked. I mean, they were the same size.
Really?
Yeah, they looked exactly alike. And but I mean, Zach actually was super talented kid as far as his kicking is concerned. I mean, I've never seen a freshman walk in the field and be able to kick like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was because you go to the freshman game, you go to. Kid's going to be a kicker. He kick for the Vikings or whatever he
Whoops
did.
it up to the 15.
Or almost makes it over the crossbar.
Right.
But he gets better. Obviously, they get better. But Zach was like, "Oh, let's see if I can kick a 64-yarder here." It was like, it was almost kind of fun to see what he could do at that, and to have the leg strength at that age too.
Yeah.
I mean, just a natural athlete, and of course it showed because if truth be known, Zach was one of the better blockers we've ever had as a wide receiver. That kid blocked
made some
his
big
butt
catches
off, man.
too.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So again, watch college football on Saturdays. Hopefully, we'll be putting more people into the NFL here shortly, and it's fun to watch and fun to keep track of all that stuff. And we'll try to keep chit-chatting about them all. Make sure everybody knows that they're still out there and that they still got it deep down. They take down that off their college jersey. There's a Venice jersey underneath there somewhere, and it's fun to see the names. It's always to see Venice, Florida on there when they see them as starters. Coach, anything you just want to add as far as before I forget, golf tournament. So we had, obviously past Saturday was supposed to be the golf tournament, but Ian took care of that, and we have settled on November 12th.
Right.
So November 12th, again at Waterford, everything's sort of getting back into shape. A lot of the golf courses took a beating, hundreds of trees knocked down in different spots, but they're getting it ready, and it should be ready to go for us on the 12th. So anybody who's already signed up and got their money in, everything is still on track. It's just a month or so further into and probably
nice weather.
Really going to be nice weather.
Yeah.
So I mean, October, 1st of October, as we can see by having a hurricane, you're never quite sure what you're going to get, but normally it's pretty good or better than it would be in the midsummer time. But in this case, we know we're pretty sure that we should be enjoying the weather and enjoying the festivities and great. I would say it's probably the most not notorious, but the most well-known of our fundraisers. That's the one everybody seems to pinpoint. So again, we'll see you out there if you did sign up for on the 12th. If not, check with Jessica or check and see if there's still some spots open. I know they were getting close to being full, so maybe there's some spots that have opened up. With that, Coach, good luck on Friday night.
Thank you.
I'll be there. We're live streaming also. I should mention that also. Live streaming from Sarasota, 7:30 kickoff. Josh Grant and myself will probably be doing some pregame stuff. So we'll get that. We're doing that. So usually we start pregame. Francis usually not on the Boxcast. We do something on Facebook Live a little bit. How does he do that a little bit? Okay. Yeah. So just tune in about 6:45, 7 o'clock. Start looking around, and we'll do some pregame stuff. And another thing I want to ask you too, real quick. First game on artificial turf. Used to it by now?
Yeah, I mean, kids wear the same cleats, so it's, the turf at Sarasota and Riverview is very slippery, because it's a cedar-based, so it's actually not going to be as nice as what we've been playing on. So
right. No, but our field is spectacular. There's no doubt about it. If anybody watched the game against St. Francis on ESPN, I don't think there was a nicer field that they've done any game on, unless it was like an artificial turf field. So once again, live streaming, head over to Vibrant Aspects Media. The link will be on the Venice High School, VeniceIndian.org page. So go ahead and do that if you want to link through there. Once again, thank you for being here, Coach, and we will see you all next Tuesday on our Tuesday night podcast. Thank you.